In this video, we will take a look at the GA4 demographics reports, how to enable them, and how to use them. Hey, my name is Julius, and welcome to the Analytics Mania YouTube channel, where you can learn Google Tag Manager and Google Analytics. And if you want to stay up to date with GA4, then consider subscribing. Demographics reports in GA4 are not enabled by default. To start collecting data, you have to do some additional configuration. In today's video, I will show you all the needed steps. Additionally, you will learn where the data is coming from, where can you use it, and more. Let's take a look. You can find demographics reports by going to Reports, then Demographics, and then let's say Demographics Overview. However, if you haven't done any additional configuration in your GA4 property, some of the cards will be empty, like gender, interests, or age. To start seeing some data here, you have to enable Google Signals. And you can do that by going to Admin, then Data Settings, Data Collection, and here you will have to enable Google Signals. Right now in this property, I have already enabled that, but if you're dealing with a new property, you will see something like this, where you have to click Get Started, then Continue, and then Activate. What will happen is that Google Signals from this moment will start collecting some additional data about your users. That data is coming from Google accounts. In other words, if a visitor is browsing your website while having logged in to his or her Google account, and that visitor has enabled ad personalization in that Google account, then some of the information will be available in your property as well. Make sure that you read all of this before enabling Google Signals. Once you enable this, then within 24 hours, you will start seeing some data in the Demographics Overview report. Here I have logged into another account where demographics data has been collected for a while. Also keep in mind that Google Signals is not retroactive. When you enable it, only from that moment, the demographics data will start coming in to your reports. And I can see things like gender, I can see interest of visitors of the website, and their age. Obviously, you should look at this data with a grain of salt. But nevertheless, this can still give you a general idea of who your visitors are. So for example, here, let's say that I will click on View Interests card. And here I can see interests and also some additional metrics. Let me just quickly zoom out a bit. And here I can see things like engaged sessions. And obviously the most important thing is revenue. So I can, let's say, sort by revenue and then try to understand who are my most valuable customers. And then these interests can be later used as an idea for ad targeting. Another idea could be to check age. So instead of interest, you can click right here and change to age. And then again, I have sorted by revenue. So as you can see, most of the age is not known. And that just proves that you should take a look at this data with a grain of salt. However, another known age group is 25-34, and they drove this amount of revenue. So maybe when I am thinking about ad copy or again, targeting, then maybe I should keep looking at this age group more closely. We can also add a secondary dimension and let's say add gender. And now I can see that the most valuable group is 25 to 34 male. So if this business decides to do some paid advertising in the future, this could be definitely taken into account. Now, if you're wondering why you're not seeing total revenue in your reports, is because this is available only if you implement e-commerce tracking in GA4. And that is a very extensive topic. Luckily, I have a very in-depth module in my intermediate/advanced Google Tag Manager course where I explain how to do that with GTM. So if you want to learn that, then take a look at the link in the description of this video. Also, if you want to read more about Google Signals in general, I will also post several links to the description of the video. When it comes to Google Signals, I want to mention one thing. When you enable them, you are enabling not only demographics data, but you're also activating remarketing features. In other words, third-party cookies will be stored in your visitors' browsers, and those cookies are used for ad targeting. Now, if you don't want to do that, then there is a way in Google Tag Manager how can you specifically disable ad personalization features while still having the demographics data in your report. Here I am in my Google Tag Manager account where there is one Google Analytics 4 tag. This tag is responsible for sending a page view to this particular data stream. So if you enable Google Signals, but you don't want that ad targeting part to be enabled, you can do that by going to Fields to Set, Add Row, and entering the following parameter, exactly like this, allow underscore add personalization signals and set this to false. But here's the thing, from what I've noticed, just entering false will not work well. And to solve this problem, you should instead create a custom JavaScript variable that returns not the word false, or in other words, a string in JavaScript, but a Boolean value. Without diving too much into technical details, I will just show you what I mean. So here you should click on this variable button, then click plus icon, variable configuration, and custom JavaScript. Here you should enter the following code: function, open and close parentheses, then open and close curly braces, and then enter return false. Now here's the thing. We want this variable to return a false value without quotation marks. Because if we just entered in that previous field the word false, the output would have been like this. And it is surrounded by quotation marks. This makes a string, which is a type of data in JavaScript. So instead, we need a real false value, which is Boolean. And it is not surrounded by quotation marks. So here I can enter something like CGS false, click save, and now this is configured properly. So this kind of configuration will prevent Google Analytics from collecting data for ad targeting, but at the same time, you will still remain with your interest reports right here. But keep in mind that if you are using Google Analytics to build your audiences, and then you import those audiences to Google Ads, this feature will prevent your audiences from working. So it means that you will not be able to use your audiences in Google Ads. Then click save, and then we can test whether this is working. I will click preview. Then a pop-up will appear. I will click connect. The page will load. Tag Assistant is connected. And I will see that my page view has fired. Now, if I go to the Google Analytics for debug view, which is in configure and debug view, I will eventually see this parameter, which says non-personalized ads 1. So if you see this, then it means that ad personalization is disabled. And that is how you can see and use demographics data in your GA4 property. I always look at that data with a grain of salt. However, it can still give me some ideas of who my audience is and where could I focus more in my messaging and targeting. If you found this video useful, hit the thumbs up button below the video because it helps me continue working on this channel. Also, if you want to learn more about Google Tag Manager or Google Analytics 4, then consider subscribing to the channel. My name is Julius, this is Analytics Mania, and I'll see you in the next video.